Hi, it's Nell, and thank you for joining me on this somewhat windy spring afternoon. But it is very early April. I have a bunch of gardening projects I want to do, and one of them is transplanting some small plants into some small pots. And more specifically, I'm going to be transplanting 2 small snake plants and 3 small succulents. So stick around for that. So here are the 3 pretty little pots here. The 2 patterned ones on either side are Talavera pots that I got here in Tucson. It's a very popular style of pottery. I happen to really like it because it's colorful, and I like the more modern designs myself. But anyway, and then the one in the back is a plain red pot, but beautiful, that I drilled a hole in. So now let me reveal to you the plants. Okay, so here we have our fine array of plants. This is actually a dwarf Laurenti Sansevieria that I dug up some of the rhizomes out of my garden in Santa Barbara, and I brought them here. I've since planted the main part of the plant, and I just stuck this grow pot out in the back. And lo and behold, the plant appeared out of the rhizomes, because that's how they grow. So that one's going in here, and it's going on my mantelpiece. This one is also a dwarf Sansevieria. It's the Blue Star, which I love. Because it's in a little bigger pot, it's going to go in this pot here. And I wanted to do this video too because plants like snake plants and succulents can stay pot bound for a while. So it's just fine for them to go into these pots, and they can grow in them for a few years. And then over here I just have a few succulents. This is a panda plant, and then I'm going to put the other 2 at the forefront. I'll put the names of all the plants in the the blog post. So if you are really interested in all these, that's where they will be. Now, in terms of mix, I'm going to use about 3/4 potting soil to about 1/4, maybe 2/3 to 1/3 potting soil to succulent and cactus mix for the snake plants, because I want it to drain really well, especially in these pots. And then I'm going to use straight succulent mix for the succulents. And of course, I'm going to mix in a little compost, and I'm going to top it with a little bit of worm compost. And what I'm also going to use for these pots, because I have it, I used it for that video planting succulents in pots with no drain holes, is I'm going to mix in a little bit of charcoal, because charcoal actually aids in drainage, and it also sweetens the soil. It kind of takes the smell away. So on these smaller pots, I think it'll be beneficial to have a little bit of charcoal in the mix too. Alrighty, so I have some potting soil in here already, and I'm going to get some of the succulent and cactus mix, which is nice and chunky. I use a local mix, which is beautiful. And I'm going to mix this up together. Then I'll take a little bit of it out, because as you can see, this plant is probably not going to need to be raised up too much. And it already has some babies running off it here and there, so it is ready to go. And this is what I do. I just give them a gentle nudge on the side, and then I should be able to just pull it out of the pot. Yep. Thank you. Thank you for cooperating. Should being the operative word. See, there's a new one there. And then over here. So I'm just going to break off some of this here. Kind of break off some there, and that's actually pretty good. I think I'm going to raise it up a little bit more. So now I'm going to go ahead and add in a little bit of the charcoal, and that's what that looks like. Add it in there, just mix that up, and the level is just fine for the root ball of the plant. And then I can just continue to fill in. I also added in about half a handful of the compost just to really sweeten it and make it really nice. So feed it that way. I'm just going to dump that little bit of charcoal into there, get some more of the succulent and cactus mix. And fill in around there. And then I'm going to add a little bit of the potting soil that came in off the plant because it should be fine. It's I just bought this plant like a couple weeks ago up in Phoenix. Just get it all in beautifully. That'll give it'll drain really well, but it's also going to hold some of the nutrients in that nice potting soil and with the compost. I'm filling it up a little bit high because these plants tend to have some weight to them and they pull down in the light mix. So I'm just going to go in and kind of tidy this up. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to top it off with some worm compost. So the blue star is done. I topped it off with a little bit of worm compost on the top. Now I'm going to get it out of the way and start on the other sansevieria. Now I'm not going to show you the whole potting process on this one because it's basically the same, but I'm just going to show you taking it out of the pot because it's been in this pot for a while and I have no idea what's going to happen when it comes out of the pot. So let me get this rather good soil out of the way. And then I'm just going to, actually I think I'll do this and see if I can get it out this way so I don't get all that soil. Oh yeah, here we go. Beautiful. Okay, just the size I want. Beautiful for in there. It's this is a smaller pot, obviously, but it will be producing babies off of those rhizomes, baby plants in no time. Okay, so I got this sansevieria cleaned up and I put some more of the potting soil succulent mix and a little bit of charcoal and some compost in here. This part of the rhizome is just completely soft and rotted out. So I'm just going to take it off. So it just leaves that, which is just fine. Gonna fill in around here. I also have a little bit of potting soil in here too. And now I'm going to grab a couple handfuls of the succulent and cactus mix. Now this one is all topped off with the worm compost. And because it sits up on my mantle, I was thinking, wow, I should put some rock or something on it, but you really aren't going to see it because the mantle is up pretty high. So I might put a geode or something in there, I'll see. While it is filling out because it's pretty small now, but it will grow and multiply. So now we are on to the succulents, and I'm going to use almost all succulent and cactus mix with just a little bit of compost and a little bit of worm compost on the top. So I will probably fill the pot up to about there with mix and then put the plants in and fill in around there. So this is how this planting is going to look. I've got the panda plant in the back because it gets the tallest. And this planting may only stay in this pot for 2 years. It's got plenty of room to grow, but the panda plant will most likely outgrow the other two. These are going into my living room, which has like medium to high light. It's going in an east window that only gets a little bit of morning sun, so it shouldn't burn. I have so many fleshy succulents I want to plant, and I want to try to get them all in like 1 or 2 pots because they're just a little bit more not problematic, but a little bit more labor intensive here in the desert. I have to water them more than I did in Santa Barbara, and they need a lot more shade outdoors than they did there too. So I thought I would do a pot for indoors. And there we go. I just topped it off with some succulent and cactus mix, and now I'm going to put a thin layer, very thin layer, because it's going inside, of worm compost on the top, and that's how I feed them. Okay, all cleaned up so you can see just how sweet these little pots are. Oh, let me turn this one around because I like the pattern side here. Or do I like it a bit better? There we go. There we go. Beautiful. So now the next step on these is for me to put them outdoors in the shade. Even though it's early April here, it's about 89 degrees today, so they are not going to get too cold at all. I'm just going to put them over in the shade for a few days. Probably the snake plants I will let settle in for about 3 days, and then I will water them, and the succulents probably about 5 days. It is about 2 weeks after I planted these up, and as you can see, these bit babies have grown beautifully. They're well on their way, and then there's another one that's appearing right there. So this one is multiplying like crazy. So here they are all done. As long as I had this project to do, I just wanted to show you and do it along with you in case you found a small snake plant and a small pot. You thought, can that go in there for a while? And it can, because they do not mind being a little bit pot bound at all. So I hope you have found this video to be helpful and that you have enjoyed it. And I have a lot more videos coming your way, so stay tuned for those. Now, let's get out in the garden or into our indoor gardens and make our worlds a more beautiful place. I thank you for all your likes and your subscribes, and I also thank you for watching this video, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!